So we have a special obligation.
You know, listening to a decent human being extol the virtues of democracy and compassion is something we should relish, because we live in a world that requires both compassionate leadership, experience, and the respect and support of like-minded friends and allies.
Yesterday, I paid my respects at the American Cemetery just a few miles from here, where many of those Rangers who died taking this cliff are buried. I spoke of what the fallen had done to defend freedom. Today, as I look out at this battlefield and all the bunkers and bomb craters that are still surrounded, one thought comes to mind. My God, how did they do it?
Look, it's a dangerous world with unrest in the Middle East, an active war in Ukraine, and China's assertion that Taiwan belongs to them, not to mention the rise of neo-Nazi groups and Christian nationalists here. It's a worrisome chapter in human history.
If you can't admire Joe Biden as a person, then it's probably you got a problem. You need to do some self-evaluation.
So hearing that, what happened to the Republican Party that would cause them to turn their backs on the likes of Joe Biden or Liz Cheney or Adam Kinzinger and other decent public servants and go this way instead?
I didn't serve. I haven't served. I had a foot thing and I had deferment for that.
Mr. Trump said, "You think I'm stupid? I'm not going to Vietnam."
Donald Trump stayed home while kids without fake doctor's notes or college deferrals died.
Mass arrests, demonstrations, Chicago, that all of us can look back and see on C-SPAN. But it was a tumultuous time, and most of it was bred by the conflict. And one aspect of the conflict, by the way, that I will never, ever countenance is that we drafted the lowest income level of America, and the highest income level found a doctor that would say that they had a bone spur. That is wrong. That is wrong. If we're going to ask every American to serve, every American should serve.
Why would you choose a man who calls veterans who perished in battle suckers and losers? Or a man who attacked a war hero?
$1 million for him. It's a lot of money. I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, you know, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
And for the record, John McCain, severely injured, stayed in Vietnam even after the Viet Cong offered to release him early when they discovered his father was an admiral. He stayed because there was another U.S. soldier who had been there longer and deserved to go home first. That's unimaginable. Can you imagine Trump being that unselfish?
Here's the good news. I'm very rich.
While Vietnam vets were returning home, what was Trump doing back here in the U.S.?
He likes beautiful women, and many of them are on the younger side.
There's no comparison between Biden and Trump. Biden has served his country for half a century, married to the same woman for 47 years, had a son who served, and another whom he loves despite his shortcomings. And Trump? President Biden's visit to France to honor the men and women who fought the Nazis, to honor our allies with whom we fought alongside to defeat fascism. I guess they were Antifa. Anyway, they paved the way for a tremendous 3/4 of a century of growth and prosperity for the world.
June 5th, 1944. The evil Hitler's Third Reich was devastating the world. Nazi Germany had subjugated the once free nations of Europe through brute force, lies, and twisted ideology of racial superiority.
This president is in stark contrast to a man who embraces Hitler, who read Mein Kampf to fall asleep.
Hail Trump! Hail our people! Hail victory!
And who supported neo-Nazis in Charlottesville.
Jews will not replace us!
Very fine people on both sides.
While Trump supporters carry both Confederate and Nazi flags, Man-Titty supports Steve Bannon and others who tried to overthrow our government and install a dictator.
All hell is going to break loose tomorrow. It's all converging, and now we're on, as they say, the point of attack, right? The point of attack tomorrow. I'll tell you this. It's not going to happen like you think it's going to happen, okay? It's going to be quite extraordinarily different. And all I can say is strap in.
And Trump has said that should he be elected, he'll deport 11 million people, destroy the fabric of our government by firing civil servants and replacing them with like-minded cronies, and install Mike Flynn as Secretary of Defense. For the record, Mike Flynn pled guilty for lying to the FBI about his contacts with Russian officials during the 2016 presidential campaign and his attempt to persuade Trump to use the military to overturn the 2020 election. Imagine this guy anywhere near top secrets and control of the military.
I want to be a dictator.
You know, that might be the most truthful thing to ever emerge from Trump's mouth, other than Putin's perestroika. But as Biden points out, World War II was fought to stop the rise of dictators and authoritarian regimes. But January the 6th revealed that people like Steve Bannon and this hump, Jack Posobiec, a Trump favorite and a host on OAN TV, have collaborated with white supremacists, neo-fascists, and anti-Semites for years while producing propaganda that Trump and his inner circle publicly celebrated.
I just wanted to say, look, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, however. While Biden supports Ukraine in the fight of their lives, the fight for independence and democracy, Putin is working with Republicans, feeding James Comer and Jim Jordan disinformation about Biden in these impeachment proceedings. The go-between, Alexander Smirnov, confessed to his relationship with Putin and how Comer knew it was Russians trying to throw the election to Trump. Again.
Michael McCall, who runs the Foreign Affairs Committee, Congressman McCall made a comment this week about what he says sounds like Russian propaganda from some conservative media, and why it's so difficult to explain to Republican voters why supporting Ukraine is important. He told Julia Yaffe, quote, "I think Russian propaganda has made its way into the United States, unfortunately, and it's infected a good chunk of my party's base." He singled out primetime shows on conservative channels. Do you agree with him, and how big is this problem?
Oh, it is absolutely true. We see directly coming from Russia attempts to mask communications that are anti-Ukraine.
And even Republicans acknowledge the GOP is infiltrated with Russian propaganda. General Milley saw the danger. On January the 6th, he called China and tried to reassure them the government wasn't falling into the hands of those who could turn an insurrection into a nuclear war.
We are unique among the world's militaries. We don't take an oath to a country. We don't take an oath to a tribe. We don't take an oath to a religion. We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator. And we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator. We don't take an oath to an individual. We take an oath to the Constitution, and we take an oath to the idea that is America, and we're willing to die to protect it.
And he knew the danger Trump posed then, as he knows the danger that Trump poses now.
That's the test of the ages. In memory of those who fought here, died here, literally saved the world here.
Trump's cognitive collapse is worrisome because should he win, he will possess the ability to establish an authoritarian government. And even though he can barely speak,
I am the political prisoner of a failing nation.
He will be surrounded by people like Flynn, who will be ready to take the command when Trump falters. And with 6 votes in the Supreme Court, who's going to stop them? Well, there's this thing in November you might have heard about, and it might just be your last chance.
Damn right.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I'm Chip Franklin.